best young player I ever coached. That is a loaded one.
So let's go through the resume. You
Nice for him to give you a softball
you
to start out, Coach.
young
huh?
LeBron.
Joel Embiid. LeBron was, by the time I got there, I think it was his 5th year.
Okay. You
was
coached
pretty
young
late.
Steph, though, didn't you?
2nd year. Yeah, Joel, to me, was, I mean, a lot of people don't know because he was hurt for 2 years. But before the 2nd injury occurred, we got to see him play as he was making his return, and we knew instantly. We knew once he got healthy, he was going to change the game. He was going to change our organization. And that's a guy that hadn't played an NBA game yet. You just knew right away, especially for a big guy. You can see it with some perimeter guys. To see a big guy be that dominant. And we had Jahlil Okafor and we had Nerlens Noel there, and you're looking at it, and it was different. He's just different. He has great shooting touch. He has great footwork, and he had a mean streak that was just, and you guys know it. He's got a mean streak where if he can pick on you and he can bully you, you're going to get bullied if you let it. So I would have to say Joel.
Coach, let me ask you something. The guys at Kansas said that Joel, his learning curve was faster than anyone they'd ever seen. They'd show him something in the morning time, and by game time that night, he was putting it in and it looked like he'd been doing it his whole life.
Yeah.
Can you think of an example of something like that when you were working with him, something that y'all worked on?
I mean, it's the step back stuff, the one leg stuff that he's doing, the shot fake. He studied James Harden and he's looking at him and he says, well, how does James get to the foul line so much? Well, he's able to put the arm out and bait the. Well, guess who was 2nd in the NBA in free throw attempts last year? Again, this is something that he didn't grow up doing.
Right.
He just studied a player and bought into it, and he just picked on guys. You put your hands out. One of his famous lines is, you're going to foul out tonight. And he's yelling at guys. In your 2nd, 3rd seasons, you're 2nd in the league behind one of the greatest guys of getting to the foul line in James Harden. Joel picked up a skill that a lot of players are still trying to master.
Was there a lot of film work in that, or is it just literally seeing it a couple of times?
No, that's just him being maniacal about wanting to pick up something and then to add it to his game. The Dirk step back, the one leg deal, and the step back, the shot fakes, everything. He's so competitive that once he finds something that he thinks he should add or he thinks he should use or he thinks he should do, and you see him with different players. He knows how to pick on guys and get under their skin, and then he stays doing it.
Coach, one of your guys, Trae Young, the whole trajectory that he took from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, I mean, the improvement was stark, it was vast, and it came quickly. What do you attribute all that to with Trae being who he was versus where he was the beginning of the season versus where he was the end of the season?
The simple answer is that when you start making shots, it looks a lot better. For me, watching him every day, it just was a matter of time. The month of November, he shot 22% from the three. And you shoot 35%, and the month of November is different because he was still averaging 6 or 7 assists per game as a rookie, and he was playing 30 minutes a game as a rookie. I think what he started to do was let the game come to him, and that allowed some of those shots to go down because he didn't need to score his first 3 in the first 2 minutes of the game. He could wait till the end of the game, but have 5 assists first and then get a layup and then get that pull-up 3 off the pick and roll.
Talk with Lloyd Pierce, head coach of the Atlanta Hawks. What don't you have right now on your team?
Championship experience. I think it starts with when we come back in September and October and we say from day one, this is how we have to approach every day. That's led by me right now. I don't have that on the roster. Evan Turner is probably the closest we have to that, playing in the conference finals last year. But we don't have that. We don't have those guys that understand that there is a different level. They can watch it on TV, but it's different when it's in your locker room.
Can I counter with one thing, though? And this is why I asked the question. I'm so high on this team. I know that everybody goes positionless now and everybody goes small ball. I mean, for a young team to positionally fit the way that you guys fit right now, and then have the ability, if you want, to slide John Collins to a 5, Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter. I mean, you've got to feel like this team is kind of sneaky loaded at a very young age, correct?
I think the excitement of the draft this year is we were able to balance out in addition to what we already had. Trae Young, unbelievable rookie year. Kevin Huerter, great rookie year. John Collins had an explosive second year. And we were able to say, man, we still are pretty small in a lot of ways. We're not very versatile defensively in a lot of ways. And so you do add Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter. Cam can play some at the 1. DeAndre can play some at the 4. More importantly, both of those guys can guard 1 through 4. And I feel confident in having them on the roster and plugging wherever we want. If John goes to the 5 and we play Cam at the 3 and DeAndre at the 4, or however you want to do it, it's great to have options. It's great to have versatility.
Let's talk about Cam for a minute and his shooting, which was something he was criticized a whole bunch at Duke. Now, I watch Cam Reddish. I see a good shooter somewhere in there with the right reps and the right work.
Good shooter.
My question is, do you see it?
He's a good shooter. There is no somewhere. He's a good shooter. And you have to find ways to evaluate players. And when I sat in this seat last year and we were coming out of Salt Lake City, Utah, and everyone was questioning Trae Young, and I said, what I see is a guy that creates, and he had 20 opportunities, shot opportunities for our team in a summer league game. That's unbelievable. If our guys get hot and he's creating 20 three-point opportunities or 20 easy opportunities for our players, that's what we're evaluating. Cam Reddish shot 12 times a game last year at Duke, 7.5 of them were threes, and he shot it at 33%. He'll be fine. He'll be fine because he's going to get catch and shoot. He's going to get his rhythm. He's going to have a repetition from player development that's going to develop him and get his legs under him. That's not going to happen by September. It's going to take some time, but he shot 7.5 threes as a freshman at Duke at 33%. The ability to do that is what's most intriguing.
Coach, let me ask you something. You mentioned being here a year ago, coming out of Salt Lake, the Rocky Mountain Review, and you know what happened with Trae there wasn't necessarily reflective of what you saw in him and what he ended up being in his rookie year. I want to talk about you, though. You just completed your first year as a head coach in the NBA. What's something that it just didn't occur to you before you got the position that a year in, you're like, oh, wow, I didn't realize I'd be doing that much of this.
I didn't realize I'd have the amount of individual meetings that I had to have this year.
With
players.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, coaching and empowering your players and teaching your players the game. There's many layers and many ways of doing it. The way our game is spaced out right now, you know, we don't play as many back-to-backs, which means we're playing every other day. Well, those in-between days aren't great practice days. We're not getting after it because we just don't have that opportunity.
Right.
So how do I educate a player like Trae and a player like John to be better? It's sitting down with them and communicating with them. And as an assistant, you have 1 or 2 guys that you're responsible for. As a head coach, I got 15.
So based on that, do you feel like that's more of a function because you have a young team and it's a development thing? If you had a veteran team, would you still?
Well, when I sat Ken Bazemore for Kevin Huerter midway through the year, I had to sit down and have a conversation. And it's still keeping that dialogue of how he can still impact the game, impact our team, but doing it from a different role. I mean, each guy has a different issue. If you got 15 happy guys on your team, you got about 5 or 6 of them that you don't want on your team because they got the wrong approach.
Good way of saying it. Are you guys the baby warriors?
No, we're just the baby Hawks. We're still young. You know, I know we get the comparison a lot. I think it's more of a testament and credit to Golden State that, you know, teams should and are trying to emulate them, but we have to do it our way. You know, I think Trae and Steph really are different players. You know, Trae is always in pick and roll and wants to always be in pick and roll. Steph doesn't. Steph likes to get off the basketball and make you chase him, and he's unbelievable at it. So I know they're 6'3" and they're light-skinned and they shoot from deep, but I think they're different players, and I think our entire roster is a little bit different than theirs.
I'm not saying that they are. Obviously, you've heard the comparison, but, like, it's kind of funny when you just go through the roster, and I'm like, wow, Cam Reddish kind of has a Harrison Barnes feel to him. Evan Turner's idol or big brother in the league is Iguodala. Like, I'm just trying, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like that. So if you had your choice, and I think you hinted at it earlier, $14 million left of space, are you bringing in someone or multiple people that have won championships with part of that $14 million?
You know, I don't know if one guy is going to come in our locker room and be able to change that. I think just from what are you missing? You are missing. Like Vince gave us credibility in our locker room last year, and he was amazing at it. And you just trusted the voice that was in the locker room when the coaching staff wasn't there. this year for us is about progression. How are we going to be better than last year? I don't have a number of wins for us. I don't have an expectation there. I know people want to start talking about playoffs and things of that nature. We just have to grow, and we have to be better than we were last year, and that'll be a testament to integrating 3 young guys in and seeing what some sophomore seasons are going to look like. And so how do we do it? Is it just one guy that's got playoff or championship experience? I don't know if his impact will be great. I think it is about finding balance, some leadership, some depth. It's not really a positional thing, but it is about adding leadership and depth.
So Bembry made a jump last year. Who's that guy this year? Who are you looking for you feel like is going to do more than what any of us kind of believe at this stage is going to do more?
I think in a weird way, I think it's Kevin Huerter. He was a guy that jumped on the scene after preseason. I say it all the time. I thought he was going to be in Erie playing for our G League team most of the year. And next thing you know, he's starting. And I feel that he has a lot more. I mean, he's an unbelievable shooter. He's got great size. He's going to be stronger. He's been working. I think he gives us a different dimension because we can run him off of staggers. We can put the ball in his hands.
Moves off the ball well.
And he gets off the basketball quick.
Right.
He makes the right play, and he gets off of it quickly. And so, sometimes you focus on everyone else, and then there's that guy that solidly gives you 14 and 16 every night and 4 or 5 assists to go with it.
Well, Lloyd Pierce has done a tremendous job in 1 year with the Atlanta Hawks. Excited about their team this year. A lot of young players, so tell them with Chandler Parsons there not to look in the crowd because you never know who could be there watching him. Just throwing that out there. Coach, thank you so much for a couple of minutes.